Welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. Now, fishing makes you think and think and think. Different rigs, different baits, different tidal situations, especially sea fishing. And talking to sea fishing, I was shore fishing on the mark. I didn't really do that great. But what I did see were some tidal conditions that I really fancied. I didn't get to see it at a low tide. And as you people know, I always like to look at somewhere low tide first. I just couldn't do it. I had too far to drive, like 90 odd miles. When I got there, the tide was filling in. But I've sort of chiselled it down from what you would call a hunch that turned into some halfway decent fishing. How did I go about it? Well, the first thing I did was look up on the map, but I want to talk to you just briefly about the sort of mark it is, because it could apply to other places as well. I do apologise for the childish drawing, but you'll get the message and you might be able to understand it. Okay, the basis of it is this. Here's the land all the way along here. There's a walkway. Here's all the ocean here. The open sea is over there. This would be about 250 yards across here. Previously, I'd fished just here. Just there, casting out like this, okay? The tide floods in this way. That's flood. Ebbs, obviously the reverse. That way. But I did walk about 200 yards along here to a slight curve out like this, very, very small bit. And when I was there, I saw along the edge here lots of bubbles where the tide ebbed going this way. So I figured there's got to be some current here. Was on fishing up here, no flow, not really. In this whole area, there is no flow. Also, here is a vast expanse of area, and there's reed beds, you know, low-lying reed beds, rush beds, marsh is what I should have put that down as, so you're going to call it sort of land. But here was a great big, probably 100, 200 yards across, opening. Now I just noticed along here, like a sort of tide rip when the tide was ebbing. So I thought, I wonder if when it ebbs, it sucks it along the inside here, the flow, and this comes across like that. Because there, from here to here was some really, really good flow. So this point here gives me my closest distance to cast out to there, okay? I've got flow in here. Anywhere between there and there is flow. This is the open sea this way. So I thought, how can I find out more about this? I thought, right, I'm pretty sure it's a good fishing spot, especially on the ebb, not so much the flood, on the ebb. So I decided to get the old charts out. Now, like many people with boats, you have to have charts. In fact, I do believe you should have charts aboard your boat of the area you're supposed to be fishing in if you want to retain your insurance. I think somebody can pick me up on that if I'm wrong, but that's what I think. You should carry a set of charts with you. Anyway, I've got my charts, of which I never use now. They're crisp and folded because obviously we have all the GPS units we want. So I'm going to try and show you roughly on this chart what the ground looks like. If you think of what my shape was, I'm talking about this area just in here. I can't zoom in anymore because this camera won't take it. But the blue, if you can just see the blue here, that's water that doesn't dry out. So that's you know, very, very low water. It looks like half a metre on a low spring there. This will go to mud flats there, so it dries out. So the tide will flood up in here and up over here. It doesn't show it on this one. It's got a wash on high water springs, so it will wash all over this marshy area. Now, if you just look there, I think these are the marsh rush beds that I've got marked out there. And the peninsula that I'm talking about was really along there on that point. It doesn't show it well on this Admiralty chart here, but there's one there and one there. And you can just see what I'm going to call this a feeder channel coming in from the deep water here, right in there. Where does it go? It goes right past this point. Okay, now I just watched the flow on the other side between those two reed beds over here. I told you I could see like a ripple coming through, and there I believe it's a feeder channel coming along that joins this one. So I'm looking to be somewhere in that area there and try and see if the flow from this and this, when it drains all this out here on an ebb tide, will be good for fish. It's just a hunch I've got, and I'm going to back it up by putting up my boat sounder, my echo sounder. I've got a Lowrance HDS7, and I've also got my old caravan battery. I'm going to put that on and see what that other chart comes up with. We know this dries out. Obviously it doesn't have too much, but it does have that feeder channel there, and it has the other one coming in through there. So that corner previously fished, say, there, then I've walked, say, another 200 yards across, and that's the point I'm really fancying putting my bait in out here, maybe 100 yards, something like that. Okay, I've got my old caravan battery here. So it's what's called a leisure battery. Couple of clips, which I can put on there. But make sure if you do this, you can do this at home. Maybe you don't need a great big battery like this. You can use just a 12-volt battery, but you can use a motorbike battery. It'll be handy, it's small. Make sure you get an inline fuse. So this one is whatever amps is, I think it's 3, something like that. So get an inline fuse there, and then we'll hopefully get the sounder. This way you can look at your sounder, you can play with the sounder and everything in the comfort of your home. So this is the HDS7, can look kind of stupid if it doesn't fire up. But luckily, it looks like we've got enough juice in the battery to get it started anyway. Okay, I've got it on the dashboard because I've just taken it off the boat, obviously. I keep it in the house. Let's just get down and look at the chart. Probably going to be tricky actually, trying to locate this. Okay, so here you might be able to see that knot shape cut out there, and I'm believing my point is in here, and possibly no sounders have ever been taken in there. I don't know. We'll find out as we beep in there. There's some ponds just down here, and I believe my spot is where I want to fish, about there. Move that too far. Just there, just about there. You can see here all the blue water that I saw, and this green is going to dry out, but there's going to be a flow coming out from here. It's got to come out from this creek and come around here. It's got to come through here, and these rush beds aren't shown on this particular one. If I zoom right in, it won't show anything else except about where I want to fish. There's that tiny bump just there. You can see that just there. It shows nothing. You can see you've got the blue water all along the edge here. You've got the drying out area here, and that's that little point down there. So if I go back to my original chart, it's probably got slightly more detail on it. Just as a for instance, I'm in here, in that notch there. If you come back here, I just scroll across for you, you can see the amount of detail in there. Now if I pull that down and just go in, just look at the detail now showing. Tremendous number of contours, depths, ranges, features. Look, right down, shows absolutely. This is with a Navionics card, platinum card in there, but I can keep going and going and going until I lose it totally. And you can see all the different ranges, contours you can get there, and the details. There's a nice edge there. So if I just put it back again, you can see that what I'm doing, while I'm looking at this, trying to find something, I can't find anything in here because the sounder's never been probably running there. You can see there's a sea that dries out as mud flats. This all fills up, so I got a hunch I'm going to go in there, but I've got to do something different because that tide's flowing. I know that tide's going to flow on the ebb. I've got to come up with a different rig. Look guys, I know where I want to fish. I'm just telling you, I've got the paper chart. Okay, I've got the paper chart. Possibly hasn't told me anything I didn't really know, just by looking visually at the water movement, the current flow, the ripples, that type of thing. Also, I've got to my sounder off my boat. Obviously, there's not much sounder readings being done in that area because it is a mudflat area. Why would they sound it, I guess? But anyway, that's told me roughly. And of course, when I'm casting, I can time it with the lead going down through the water. Hits the water, bump. Fairly shallow, fairly shallow. But just imagine this, right? I'm standing here, I'm casting out. When I first started fishing there, just this one trip, I was getting nothing except crabs. I could see the tip just tapping away like this. And it wasn't until I walked down the end after 3 hours with no bites, I thought, I see these bubbles going along. There's flow there. I had no flow 200 or 300 yards to the left. So I know something's cooking as far as, you know, the topography. Did I say that? That's a long word, I can't spell it. Topography of the seabed is concerned. it still bothered me on rig because I had some real bangs, you know, real good bites on the rig. Didn't hook up. I think I got a couple of small fish, but anyway. If you can imagine in a boat where we do fish with a lot of tide, you have up-tide rigs. What I wanted to do, I had small 2-ounce bombs when I was particular, and I think the fish is coming along. I think they're bass, that's what I think they are. They're coming along, they're picking up my ragworm bait. As they come up with it, they're swimming off quickly, they can bump that 2 ounces, because don't forget 2 ounces in the water does not weigh the same as 2 ounces on land, it weighs less. So it's hardly anything. Then I think they do this, my rod top's going bang bang, pew, they blow it out. That's what I think happens. I feel I should be fishing, although I don't need it to hold in the current there, a grip lead. That way when the fish moves, he's going to bump that grip lead along the seabed through the mud, at least hold the hook in until I can grab the rod and strike. I'm on braid, so it registers bites well if I can get to it fast enough. If I strike, put on, you know, striking 2 feet here, I should strike 2 feet at the other end. No stretch. That's a theory. But I'm just concerned my rigs are too short. I think I need a really, really long rig. So that if you can imagine, here's the current, I'm waiting for it to ebb. It's ebbing like this, going this way. I cast over my grip lead. I want from my rod top a curve, very slight curve in the line where the tide's pushing on it. And then I want 2 long traces or snoods hanging down as long as I can below the lead and the bow in the line. So the fish comes up current, this is how I think they feed, they come up current, they find the bait, they turn to move downstream. That way, they got 2 hookups, one on my rod top, you know, because the bow in the line, and the second one, the grip lead. So as they turn down, it should just hold that hook in for a little bit longer. I'm also concerned by the fact that my baits, because I want to cast about between 80, 110, 120 yards, to get past that channel on the far bank, my worms ball up. You know, when you cast them really hard, they ball up around the bend of the hook. And I thought, well, when we go cod fishing, we used to just have 2 hooks, a pennel, what's called a pennel, 2 hooks. One in the bottom of the worm, one to hold the worm out straight. Why am I not doing that, but with smaller hooks? So I'm making a rig up with a small, very small bait holder hook, a regular worm hook, okay? That's going to keep it straight as well, because previously I've been elasticating a thread to hold the worm up a little bit straighter. I didn't like it balling down. I felt they were just grabbing hold of it and pulling and tugging and, you know, just generally missing the hook as well. And finally, just slightly offset the hook point, which other guys do in match fishing, so that as the fish moves, it's another pointer in your favour. That point might just snag into the fish and just hook them in the mouth, and then they bang against the lead and your rod top. This is the rig I'm going to make up. Right, gets glasses on. Look, I know this is going to be a bit long-winded, guys, but I feel it's the way. Look, you get hunches, don't you, fishing? You've got to go with them. You've got to sort of break things down. There's nobody going to phone me up and say, I'll tell you a really great fishing spot, Graham. You want to go here. This is the time. That's the state of tide. That's the bait. That's where you cast. That one. You just got to learn this stuff. And I'm trying to learn on this mark. I don't know this mark, but I just have a gut feeling, because I had these sharp banging bites, that there are good fish to be caught there. Right, I'm going to make what's called the rig body, the central piece, out of, this is 80 pound mono. 60 will be fine. It's going to be at least 6 feet long. I'm going to tie on the end of that a barrel swivel, and then I'm going to start making up the trace. Okay, I'm going to be using some beads. I'm probably going to be using the small size bead just here. I'm going to be using for my main hook a mustad. There, it's called a mustad Nordic Bend. 4447B is in a 3/0, and that's the hook size there. They're very, very strong in the wire, those. Don't even know if you can still get them now, but a really good hook. The bait retaining hook in contrast is tiny compared with, there we go, the main hook. That's how I'm going to have it. It's going to be rigged. It's going to be rigged like that. Main one, bait holder. And the bait holder hook I'm using, Partridge of Redditch. It's a Z8. It's called a Sea Prince stainless hook. It's a size 4. You can try what you want. They've got quite a big barb on them, these. I'm going to be using a lead clip here. Get yourself a packet of lead clips. And also you've got the bait holder there for linking your lead on. That's about the size. That's about the size of the grip lead I'm going to want to be using. the rest of the swivel bodies with these beads here. I'm going to be using some Amnesia, which is, this is £15. You can use, I might actually, go a bit better and make it a bit heavier. That's £25 Amnesia. I like a rigid body if I can, and I don't want it tangling too much. So there's my trace here, my main rig body. So let's get going and put this one together. All a hunch, guys, is just all a hunch. Also going to be using, to hold those in place, some mini double sleeves here and some aluminium sleeves there, either or, whichever you want, to hold the rigs in place. There's my swivel up here. I'm going to put the crimps, if you can see them, a crimp, a bead, a swivel, a bead and a crimp. I'm going to crush that one on, and I'm about 3 inches from the top, from the swivel at the top. Oh, crush that. That crimp goes on there. Hopefully you can see that. And then the bead rests against it. Down comes the swivel and the other bead. Don't push these two crimps too tight, because that stops this swiveling, I feel, a little bit. Crimp the other side on. I need more Weetabix. Okay. That can then spin around, as you can see. Do the same about a good 2 feet farther down. Then from there, I come back up here. I'm halving it. That's the way I'm going to do it. As you can see, he's fixed there. I'm going to take the loop here. I'm going to halve it all the way down here. Like that. Can you see that? One end is going to be my lead clip. This end is going to go on the rod and reel. And I want the other crimps and barrel swivel in there. If you have trouble getting these crimps through, just cut slant. Make sure you cut a little slant on it, on the end of the nylon. You'll find it goes through a whole lot easier. I just got the feeling this rig, I've got it in my mind, I can almost see the bite. I mean, I don't know what you guys are like. I go to bed for the last 60 years pretty well thinking of fish every night. Ways to catch them. Where am I fishing? Am I enjoying myself? Different rigs. Okay. So there, you see what I'm doing? Holding both. Okay, I want to do it. I want it really, really long. I just got this feeling. I'm going to crimp this. I'm not going to do it in close-up, people. It's hard enough trying to do it anyway, without trying to film it at the same time. I can show you the finished product. That one's on. Swivel, swivel, locked off. Now all that remains for me to do is to tie here my lead clip on the end. And I'm going to put the snoods on and the hooks. I can't wait to get back down this place, I'm telling you. It was just the bites I had that were absolute pull round bangs, very, very sharp. It just smacked of a fish pulling on the bait. I'm moving the lead and not getting hooked. And it's annoying when I've driven 90 miles, fished. I thought, there's nobody, I've not seen anybody fish this place. I've not seen anybody fish. So there's nobody to ask anyway, not that people will tell you. So you can see the lead clip goes on there. There's my lead. Hopefully it all becomes apparent. Lead goes down here. I'm going to put a snood on here and a snood on there. I tie on the barrel swivel before I tie the hook so that I can measure the distance. You don't want one overlapping the other. Right, I've tied the rig up. It's a long rig, so I hope you can see it. There is, if you can see it on the edge of my sleeve, the rig with, that might be better there, get that clear background. So there you thread the worm all the way up the hook, up the line, and you pinch this and just wrap it round the hook shank a couple of times and then pop it through the bait. Let me show you with a piece of paper. This is all to give beginners an idea. It's all to give beginners. Look, I'm learning the same as everybody else. Now, you're going to need some imagination. This is a worm. This is a ragworm, okay? I'll try to even make it about the right size as a ragworm. What you do is you thread it up the hook up the hook like this. I'm going to use your imagination. I'm threading it round. Obviously I'm not with this because it's not the right shape. Pop it over that knot. And I leave a little tag in there. That helps hold the worm up as well. You thread it all the way up like this. Around the bend of the hook. If I can try and do this, it's going to be a tricky one to do because it's a piece of paper, Graeme. What are you doing? Stupid child. All I'm trying to do is get a piece of hook. All I'm trying to do is show people how they might catch the extra fish. I don't know myself if this is going to work. So there's the worm. Imagine that's the worm. Now that's going to slide back down like that. It's just going to slide back down when you cast. The idea of the bait holder hook, because that worm will be all up the line like this, it's free running, this one, it's not tied. I get to about the length of the shank of that hook, wind it a couple of times like that, and then nick it through the head of the worm. I'm hoping that makes sense to you people. So this worm would be exactly like that. I'm looking at the monitor over here all the time because I'm trying to see what I'm doing. So there's a bait holder hook, worm, another hook here. So when you cast, that's all held out straight. So the whole rig itself looks like this. Here comes your reel line, you tie onto the top swivel. This can swivel around there. It is at least, I said I'd get you guys a tape measure and I will. The length of the trace or snood is, to the bait holder hook is 30 inches. So it's long. Ditto for the bottom hook. So that's the whole rig. Let's get that tangled out there. This one, I would leave, I can't put another piece of paper on it to show you. But let's imagination again. You've baited up, you can put your bottom hook onto the bait clip like this. So when you cast out, you know at least one is going to be supported and will probably be held. And when this impacts with the seabed, bosh, see the hook swings loose, comes totally free. So what it looks like when you go to cast out is this. I just got a hunch this is going to work there. Look how long the trace is. There's my first trace, that's 30 inches. It's on the floor. Long rods, this is for 12-foot long fishing rods, by the way, guys. There's my other one, but I could put a bait hook, bait holding clip here. I haven't bothered because I really want to make sure that one is flowing free. Do you see what I mean? And then you cast out. You cast out, the lead hits the seabed, boom, it comes off like that. I'm going to hook it up over here on something electrical. Okay, so I've cast out, the grip lead's held, my rod and line is here, the current is going that way, these long traces are going to be held right out like there, out that way, ouch, and out that way, you see. So when the fish comes up down here, he grabs, he's got plenty of space, he can pick this worm up, look, he can swim all the way over here, can't he? He can swim all around, then he goes bang. He's going to come up either my rod top or down the other end, he's going to come up bang against my lead. But more important, when he goes to bump that lead out, as it's tripping along through the mud and the bits of stones, it's just holding the hook in until I can get there. That's the theory. I'm sorry it's long-winded, guys. I feel sure this is going to work. Been very pleased with it, and I've made it extra super long. What can we do now? Pack this lot up. Best thing I can do is get back down that mark and see if it all comes good. But I've got to wait until the tide runs. This is not for fishing off a storm beach with big waves. This will get washed around and tangled. This is for straight, constant running flow of tide. Where you can cast out, it hits the surface, the tide pulls those snoods straight, and hopefully you get a bite. And that bite converts to a fish. See if we can get anything on it. Right, so I've got my lead here, and you can see how long this trace is, and I'm just going to hook this one up for you. So I undo it like this. I put a bit of the spit on the new hook. I've already said, oh, come back here you, a lot more wind today. I'm going to come downwind. I'm going to thread this worm right up there. It's what we do normally. As you can see, it goes right up, pop it over the eye, but then when I cast, they would normally ball down here in a bend. So now my little bait retaining hook should hopefully just put a couple of twists, keep it up from a worm about a hook length, 1, 2, just nick it through once. That's what we used to do for cod, it's standard. And I can clip that down if I want for longer casting on this clip there, like that, as you can see. And then when it hits the surface of the water, boom, it breaks free. The top one I haven't got that on, but I'll get another worm on that and we'll send this one out as well. The downside, boys, the downside. I'm a little bit early on the tide from what I wanted. Downside's this mesh. The downside is I've had 2 bangs, exactly the same as I've had before, and I've made this rig just like this, especially with a grip lead to get a fish to hook itself, and it hasn't worked yet. But at least I've had 2 bangs, and you can see I've got it very much offset the point now, again to help set the hook, and it pulls. Hasn't worked. I'm sure it will. Sure it will. Right. There's some more very expensive worms out. Do not want them blowing away. So what I've clipped this one down now. You can see the worm hooked up there. So the top one's loose. The other one's clipped down. And after looking at the chart, I'm going to space along here. So I'm probably going to, rather than cast up into the wind, I think it's better if I just walk up here a little bit and just lob it out. I don't want to go too far with this one. It's always pays to keep one in close. I'll watch my backdrop here. Just going to give it a little. Now, I'll give you another tip in a second. When I want my rig to break free, and I'm not sure it's always breaking free, is I try and cast it up high so it comes down hard in the water, and then it breaks free from the lead clip, from the bait clip. So we'll see what this one done. Now, the other thing I've done, because this is sloping ground here, if you look, it's sloping away, it's falling away from me. I've had the rods up here. I think if I did get a decent fish, it might topple the lot down in the water. So I've folded these back round like that, and I'm just using them, just resting them like this, standing them in the cups. Just like that. Tighten that one up a bit. Now I'm waiting, I'm hoping the turn of the tide, is when I'm going to get a take. Could be a flounder, could be anything. Boys, I've got one. Check this one. It's a frigging beauty. Here we go. Look at this bass. Oh, what a beauty. It's not on the pop-up. This one is absolutely pristine condition. There's the long flowing trace. Absolute beauty. A hammering bite it had. Fingers crossed I get a chance for another. If I don't, so there we go. There's a long cast taking that one out, guys. Well pleased with it. Another good fish. Look at the size of the mouth. I was surprised he didn't hit actually that pop-up ragworm, but there you go. Hey, he's all arched up there, look. Well, some kind of bite now. I've got not much time left and not much bait as usual. Let's turn him around the other way for you. Oh, I see what, I'm so pleased with that one. Well pleased. Still got that blue tinge in his tail. Let's get him back. Wow, so pleased people, so pleased, I can't tell you. Unclip him and back he goes. All those poor people think, oh, you're going to eat that one. No, they go back. Well, I'm kind of surprised people that I haven't had my rigs working as they should do, because I can see now that the tide is 2 days later. That means it's 2 days, not just lower, it's weaker. I think it must be dying off. So I haven't got the tide run here that I effectively made that rig for. so it's a bit disappointing. But I've had a couple of bangs, but they've not hooked up, so I'm disappointed. I've got braid for no stretch as well. The wind's come right up, it's pretty cold and there's less people walking now. But you know what it's like, you've got to be in it to win it. I'm going to tough it out. So you can see the eyes are watching the rods now, and I've obviously heaved everything as far as I can get it out there now. I've no idea whether I'm going to get another take. I've put some on pop-ups as well because of the amount of crabs I've been getting. But what I didn't make allowances for was that tide falling, because before, look, I'm going to point it out here now. There's a gravel bar that shows there, and it really does pull across this point quite quickly, which is why I wanted to come on this point here. But it's not pulling, so it's not just that it's 2 hours later, it's 2 hours weaker, if that makes sense. It's 2 days weaker. Sometimes the tides are rising, sometimes they're falling, neaps and springs. Oh, my fingers are getting cold. But do you know what? That works a dream, because I was sitting on the other side, looking at this way, trying to keep my back to the wind. And it was just hammering, the bite was just hammering. And then I saw it go slack. But even in the slack line, I could see it doing this. So that grip lead did its job. It helped hold that hook in until I could get to the rod and then strike. I mean, he was well hooked just in the jaw there. My good fight. I couldn't actually get the head cam on because I've lost so many fish just messing with the camera trying to get you people the action shots. I thought, do you know what, there's no point in me doing all the winding in the world if there's nothing at the end of the line, is there? So I got the fish. You've seen the fish. Nice bass. Really pleased with that one. I wonder, will I get another one? All fishermen are greedy. Just keep watching those rods, and I'll probably give it every 30 minutes. It is now 25 past 2, 3. I might get 2 hours depending on the bait, but listen boys, the bait situation is A, very expensive, and B, it's not lasting that well. Yeah, let's go in all sort of soft. I've got about 2 more cast outs with that. If I change every half an hour, that's all I'm going to get. I'd like another fish show, but you get spoilt, don't you? Over here, sun's going down. What sun there is behind cloud. You see beautiful light coming through the clouds over there. And I know it's getting colder because there's less people out walking. And obviously as it gets later in the afternoon, there'll be less and less. And then there'll be just one stupid person left. That's right, me. I've got to tough it out now, and I've got to. And I'll tell you what I will be doing. I'll be looking on my echo sounder again at shore marks, not just boat marks, shore marks. Well boys, got another fish, a small bass. Very small one this time, but listen, bass is a bass, isn't it, eh? Not as big as that last one. And that's just on the ragworm. Gave me a really good bite. Small fish, it doesn't matter, we're going to get him back. So success. That was on the same distance I was casting the previous fish. So yeah, watch the fish hooks, there's all fish hooks in there. No. So we get this fish back before we catch a dog. So I've got hardly any bait. It's £22 a pound, and people put these damn dogs. I have no problem with dogs. I like dogs. It's the people we have trouble with. Why they don't put them on a lead is beyond me. It does wind me up, and I say I do like dogs. I've had 3 dogs for 45 years, so I know what dogs are. Dogs aren't the problem. People are the problem. Don't train their dogs. Don't put them on the lead. Just let them run all over the place. They love to run free in the wild, in the wind blowing in their fur. Right, wait till he eats a set of mackerel feathers. I'm not paying the vet's bill. Yeah, we're down to the last cast, boys. 2 bass. Yes, sir. Oh. That one there. Get it in quick, Graeme. This is coming to the stage of tide. I've got no worms left. This is the stage of tide where you just get this little bit of a sort of rip. You might be able to see the waves there, and that creates a current here. It's about at least 2 hours later. That was a bite on that one as well. But I'm down to, oh, hello mate, how you going? Look, I'm down to 1, 2, 3 bits. That's all they give it as, bits. One big worm and a load of bits and bobs. I cannot grumble, 2 bass. 4 o'clock, freezing. I've got to tough it out, guys. I think I'm going to tough it out as long as these worms will last. That's definitely another bite on that one. Certainly cold now, boys, and I am pretty well the last one on the entire establishment, which is hardly surprising given the cold wind. One of the last of the ferries going over to the Isle of Wight, I see, from Lymington, I believe. 1 or 2 taps, but the tide's pulling now, so my rig should work, my grip lead should work, everything should be working. And at the oh, hang on, a little tremble. I'm going to put the head cam on, guys, just in case. Oh, left hand rod there. I thought I had a tremble on the right hand rod. I definitely had on this one as well. Oh my God, what's happening? Definitely a bang on that one, bang on this one as well. Bit of a slack liner going on here, people. I think I'm going to wheel this one in. There's a slack liner there. I think there's a fish on this one. Oh yes, please. I think there is a fish on this one. That is a slack liner. Not a big one. And I've got a bite on this right hand rod up here as well. This reel sounds a bit suspect, doesn't it? This is my luxury version one. I'm pretty sure, guys, there's a fish on here. I'm going to get down here a bit. Do not want to slip A over T, go crashing in the water. Oh, it's a bass. It's a nice bass. Look at this one. Look at this one. Oh, don't lift it, Graeme. Don't lift it. Got it. Wow. There we go, people. A nice little bass to finish with. It's just about to spike me. There we go. Turn him that way so you can see him. Got his spines up there. Just nicked there. And that was the idea of that grip lead, people. That's a nice sized bass. Well pleased. 3 bass. Oh, don't spike me, buddy. I'm going to get you back. Don't spike me. Just a wee chappy. He's fat though, isn't he? Anyway, I'm going to go down carefully. I don't want to slip in. That's as close as I'm going to get, boys. He's going to go back in. And bite's still coming. And I've got 1.5 worms left. The 0.5 could be the difference. The wind is really blowing now. It's cold. Now let me just show you, people, as it's getting dark now. As you can see behind me, look. It might not look dark with this camera, it's dark. All the geese are coming in, the winter geese. But look down here. There you can see, I'll come right down quickly. I've got no more bait, so whatever's out there's out there. Look at the gravel bar that's shown here and the gravel bar that's shown over there. There's another one over here. That's the conditions of a tide edge run I wanted, just along there, but I'm way up past that because originally I'd fished in closer, but after looking at the chart and seeing that rougher ground further out there and the current edge there, it was a sort of classic place where you'd think bass were. And I've had 3 now. I've missed some others. I definitely missed some others. But there you go. It seems to have worked out pretty well in the end, doesn't it? 3 bass. One was a real nice one. I'm going to have to go shortly, find my way back. Guys, thanks for watching the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. I appreciate that. And don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit Mike's subscribe button on TA Outdoors. I am on the last minute, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. I'm on one of those. We'll see you again in the next episode. And do you know what? I'm going to be looking in my tackle shack at that echo sounder again and check out some other shore spots and see if I can't work something out. It seems to have worked here, and that's right, I'm still fishing. I've probably got bare hooks out there now. We'll see you guys again. Oh, no you won't. I've only just thrown this one out a long way, and there's a bite on that. I'm going to give that a little bit of slack. If I do get another fish, I'll get back to you, but I'm going to start packing up now, boys. Oh, holy cow. I'm not going to start packing up. This is the time people should be fishing. Look, I just had a hammering bite on that one there. Look. Oh shit, I'm on. I've got to put the camera down. I've got to put the camera down. Is anybody there? Anybody there? I've still got the fish on, boys. It's another nice bass. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. As I was packing up the last cast, there's nobody around here to believe me except you. What a good job you're watching. I hope it doesn't ping off. This one's kicking. There's a boat coming up in here now. What if he's coming up illegally fishing or something? Nasty. I'm going to go down and get this fish. Oh my word. Look at this one, people. Hey, on a pop-up. Can you see the pop-up there? I don't know what light you're going to get here. I don't know what hook I'm going to get in my hand either. Can you see that one, boys? There's the pop-up just there. I don't want to get spiked. There, boys, is the pop-up. I'm hoping you can see it in this low light. And there's a spanking great big bass there. Wow, what a session I've had. Let's get this guy back. I've got to watch out, and I hope you all got that on camera. That was as it happened, people. It is so dark. I haven't got a flashlight or anything, so I'm going to pack up. Brilliant session. This one, guys, is on the bait holding hook, which is tiny. He's not even hooked on the main hook. If I can get him off. There. That was on the small bait holder hook. What a session. Let's get him back. Yes, right in. Oh, is that doggy do or duck do? You're going to love this, people. You're going to love it. Just winding in. One of the rods has kicked off. And I've got, yeah, my 5th bass. Can you believe it? And you can see, I'm trying to get the camera for you as well. Do you know what? He's just nicked on that bait holding hook. Just there. He's just nicked on that bait holding hook just there. I've only got my head torch, guys. I can't show you anything else. There he is. Whoa, calm down, guy. Calm down. Let's try and take this head torch off. Have you just see that fish? I don't know whether you're going to see it or not, people. But it is bass number 5. Now I've really got to go home, but I've still got, you know, one rod to wind in. Don't go away, people. It's number 6. That's ridiculous, isn't it? I don't know if you're going to get any of that at all, probably not. Another bass on the last wind in. Just looked up as I was tying the other rods together and it was hammering. What a session. One of my best this year. Next time, more worms.